Alright. Tatyova versus... who are we up against? Oh good, Yisan, the commander that never should have been unbanned. Let's just hope that we don't die on turn 5. Yeah, Yisan basically just comes in, tutors for a bunch of cards that allow it to untap and tap for a lot of mana and blah blah blah. Turn 1 Yisan almost certainly means that we are donezo. Where are we here? We'll go for an island. I might just upload this game just to show people what Yisan's like. I assume everyone has played against Yisan, and I don't know why they unbanned it. The fast mana, I don't mind. The 1 turn instant speed tutors, I don't mind either. But yeah, Yisan just playing solitaire magic doesn't quite do it for me. Playing a trade routes here. Trade routes is good in Tatyova because it allows you to return lands to your own hand and then play out the lands again for the advantage of Tatyova, which allows you to gain life and draw a card every time a land enters under your control. Always going to yield to Mana Crypt, which is going to lightning bolt our opponent right now. Yes, called it up. And yeah, so Yisan just does exactly the same thing every single time. It's as though you're playing against some kind of, I don't know, modern deck or legacy deck or something like that, where it just plays exactly the same way every single time. Yisan tutors for a load of cards, might get Priest of Titania or something like that next turn, and the creatures it fetches out get bigger and bigger and bigger until it gets a Crater Hoof, swings in, and you are eliminated. See what our opponent goes for here. Priest of Titania, yep, exactly the same every single game. And all creatures have haste, so that makes it even worse off when a Crater Hoof comes out, or any big creature comes out really. This creature is so relevant because you can return a forest you control and untap a creature, so you can untap Priest of Titania for a boatload of mana, or Yisan just to get more creatures on the battlefield, and then Azusa puts back the lands plus even more lands that Curian Ranger, Curian? Yeah, we'll say Curian Ranger bounce back to the hand. So yeah, not looking hopeful in this game. We could, yeah, we can play Gush and hope that we draw into some, yeah, we need some green mana actually. Like I have any chance of winning this game whatsoever. So what we get with Gush. Okay, Brainstorm. So had I have left an island up like I should have, yeah, we could have played that Brainstorm. Oh well. Play mistakes have happened. Let's see how many creatures Yisan tutors up this turn. I think you can only activate this ability once. Yeah. So there's one. Always going to yield to that. Watch our opponent play some magic. And Quarry Hauler. When it enters the battlefield, for each kind of counter on a permanent, put another kind on. So Yisan can basically jump 5 and get straight to a 6-drop next turn. I don't know what that'll be, to be honest. I've played Yisan plenty, but I don't know it inside and out. And we might even see turn 4 defeat here. What are we on? When it enters the battlefield, creatures target player controls get +2/+2 until the end of the turn. Okay. And I'm guessing it untaps everything as well. Yeah, untap them. So Yisan goes straight to a 7 mana creature on turn 4, draws a load of cards, and can they swing him for lethal here? 11, 17, 18, 19, 20, 26. Yeah, just one shy of killing us on turn 4. Unless they get a mana dork out, or any kind of creature. Now has to be a 4-drop, I think, or a 4 mana. Untap all creatures you control, yeah, okay. So our opponent has well and truly beaten us here. I think they could now just swing in and kill us, but I'm guessing they're not going to. I'm guessing they're going to dirtle around a little bit more. Kaya's Cradle, yeah. Because our opponent's short on mana. Just going to upload this to show what Yisan can do. You might, in your own MTGO exploits on Commander, 1v1 Commander, you might just want to see Yisan on your opponent's side of the board and just come out of the game, unless you're in the competitive style of Commander. But it's not my forte, to be honest. I won't be uploading content from very competitive Yisan deck again, or Yisan. Yisan. The Yisan Skyline deck. There we go, our opponent hits us for minus 95 damage on turn 4. Fun times. Alright, let's try this again with our Tatyova deck. Tatyova is a 3/3 Merfolk Druid for 5 mana in Simic that allows us to gain a life and draw a card every time a land enters under our control. Our opponent is playing Dimir Mill, I'm guessing, with Phenax, God of Deception. It's indestructible for 7. It's not a creature unless its devotion to blue and black is higher than 7, or it's 7 or higher. And creatures that the opponent controls tap for, or they tap and put X cards into my library, where X is the creature's toughness. We are going for a turn 1 Birds, and that will most likely take us into a turn 2 Cultivate, and we will be well on our way to casting Tatyova. Whenever you play this deck, you want to be playing it with plenty of ramp, and some fetches help. Evolving Wilds is okay, very very slow, too slow really for 1v1 Commander, but a few fetches helps because we have cards like Crucible of Worlds and Ruminat in here. I think that's how you say Ruminat. I can never remember that card, but Crucible of Worlds, any cards that allow you to play lands from the graveyard so you can gain incremental advantage from playing your fetch lands over and over again. Harrow is not terrible. I think what we're going to do here is go for Cultivate though, and then if we ever have some kind of counter or bounce spell that we want to hold up, we can hold up that alongside Harrow. And we'll get the island into play, and we can pass the turn there. So next turn we can play Tatyova if we want to. Our opponent looks like they're ramping, always going to yield to that. Looks like they're ramping into their commander, which I'm not actually too scared of, to be honest. These mill decks, I don't think I've ever been milled out in a commander game. It's not to say that it can't happen, but it doesn't worry me too much if I'm being honest. Gonna go for our commander here. Might be playing it straight into some kind of removal, but it does at least get the removal out of our opponent's hand. Unless our opponent has a daze or something like that. No. So Tatyova resolves. Our opponent has played Naxor Clique, which is a 4-drop, 1/4 flying fairy rogue. On F6 there. Flying, and then it's 2 and untap. Target opponent exiles the top card of their library. Until the turn you may play that card. Handy against cards like Vampiric Tutor or any of the tutors that put cards on top of your library, because you have to assume that your opponent wanted that card if they put it on top, unless they're being really tricksy and trying to fool you into activating Naxor Clique. Our opponent not sure what to do here, clearly. Going to swing in with the Naxor click first. No. Okay, so maybe our opponent is holding up some kind of counter magic. Going to play the Flooded Strand here to get 2 triggers on Tatyova. And the good thing is about using the Ley Line of Anticipation is actually very good. I might play that. Using these fetch lands, the loss of life doesn't actually count because Tatyova gives you 1 life every time you get a land into play. I get the Tropical Island here. And what do we have? 2, 4, 6 mana. Yeah. It would be... Well, I can hold up Crop Rotation. Yeah, I can hold up Crop Rotation and go for something like an Ancient Tomb and then go into Harrow from there. But we don't actually need the Anticipation for that. What do we... Yeah, Anticipation actually, on second thoughts, isn't actually giving us anything currently. I think I do just want to ramp and get some more cards in hand. And if our opponent wants to counter this, an instant or sorcery spell, that actually doesn't bother me all that much. If they want to waste a counter... Well, not waste a counter spell. I think it's a waste on an Explosive Vegetation, but we do get a hell of a lot of value out of the Explosive Veggies, to be honest. 2 life, 2 cards, 2 lands. So, for 2 mana, them countering that, seeing as they held the mana back anyway, yeah, perhaps it was worth it for them. Okay, our opponent blocking there, it's always worth a try. So a play we could make is go for Crop Rotation, sack a forest, go into Temple of the False God or Ancient Tomb or something like that, and then tap birds and the 2 mana from the land for Harrow and get even more lands into play. I'm not sure if we'll do that yet. Depends what our opponent does. Whenever it attacks and isn't blocked, we lose 1 life for each card in our graveyard. Ah, so that goes hand in hand with a mill deck. And it does have Fear, so it can only be blocked by black creatures and artifact creatures. I think we do have a Solemn Simulacrum in this deck, actually. But it's not to worry, we could always get Maze of Ith with Crop Rotation. Yeah, I think I'm going to hold back on the play I mentioned before. What we can do is get 2 more cards here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think, yeah, I think I like Rampaging Balot here just to get a little bit of pressure on the board. And then we can sack the Verdant Catacombs and get even more value from a land entering. I'm actually going to shock in the Breeding Pool here, so we can hold up Crop Rotation, and it's going to be always yes and always yield. Noteworthy that our opponent is F6, so it's not likely that they have a Daze or something like that in hand. And another fetch there. When it rains it pours, apparently. Yeah, and when we discard down to 7, we can just get rid of the Windswept Teeth there, because we have Crucible in hand. So it would actually be really good to get an Azusa or Oracle of Muldiah, something like that, that allows us to play multiple lands in a turn, because we have plenty in the graveyard here. Alongside Crucible of Worlds, we can just go crazy with the card draw. Might be seeing our opponent's commander here. Not sure why our opponent played the Mana Vault so early. Maybe they were worried about us countering it in the late game or something like that. But currently it is just sat there asking to be blown up. Luckily for them. Okay, and I assume our opponent starts trying to mill us out here. The mistake a lot of people make in the mill strategies is that they want to mill their opponent and incrementally deal damage to them as well, in the form of swinging in with creatures. Some creatures have to swing in order to mill, but okay, we'll see. It looks like our opponent is trying to swing in here, so actually what I was going to do there was get a Maze of Ith, but whenever it attacks and isn't blocked. Okay, so I'm guessing it has to get through the blocking stage in order to trigger that. So we'll sack the forest and go for Maze and see. This should work. We'll see what happens. Where are we? Maze of Ith. Maze of Ith untaps a target attacking creature and prevents all combat damage that would be dealt to and by it. It's a card definitely worth having. And we trigger the Bailots and Tatyova and draw into Lotus Cobra, an incredibly underrated card. I'm guessing Maze of Ith will work because in order to see that the card is unblocked, it has to get to the blocking stage. And once it's got to the blocking stage, the creature is no longer attacking, so I would guess that would work. Our opponent seems to think the same. So he's not going to swing in, and now needs some kind of removal. Going to play out Lotus Cobra before we play anything else, because we can get a lot of mana from that. Or we can gain more mana from it, I should say. Lotus Cobra is always yes and always yield. And blue mana from that. I think what we'll do is go for Jace here. We'll go for Jace and bounce this Guilt Feeder just in case our opponent has an answer to Maze of Ith. Okay, our opponent going to mill us there. We still have 67 cards in library, so not too worried yet. And when our opponent passes priority, we're swinging with everything except for the Birds of Paradise, holding back a 4/4 Beast, a Lotus Cobra, and we'll hold mana up for the Birds of Paradise. Not likely that we will use Cyclonic Rift, but it's there if we need it, and our opponent might think that we have a counterspell in hand. Next turn might do it for us actually. 4, 8, 12, yeah, 18 just from those, 21. Yeah, so our opponent really needs an answer here, a board wipe or a mass bounce spell, something like that. Five cards in hand, and they've milled us a fair chunk. I'm not sure what they've milled us of. We don't have Wasteland anymore. Okay, and our opponent scoops it up. Clearly they had nothing in hand, and we managed to pull that one out of the bag fairly comfortably.